Greetings from ASPE. We are excited to bring you this informational chat to you. My name is Pam Rosenberg, and I'm the Director of Education and Certification for ASPE. With me today is the Chair of the CPD Committee, Don Strickland, who currently serves as ASPE's Region 4 Director on the Society's Board of Directors, and Donna Novickis, ASPE's Grants Manager, who works alongside me in administering ASPE's credentialing programs. Our session is being recorded today, so if you need to go back and check something, you can always go back and view this at a later date. Hopefully it will be up very soon. And please feel free to type in questions in the dialog box, and if we can, we will get those questions answered for you. So to give you a rundown of what to expect today during this chat, we will cover what exactly is the CPD exam, who is eligible, and more about the exam registration process. And with that, I'll turn things over to Don.
Thank you, Pam. As Pam said, my name is Don Strickland. I'm currently the Region 4 Director for ASPE. Today, we're going to talk about the CPD exam. And the exam is an international certification program for engineers and designers of plumbing systems. The exam is 3.5 hours long. It has 100 multiple choice questions. It is an open book exam, and you're able to take the exam at a testing center available to you around the world. The current and potential future exam dates are always posted online, and we will discuss this in further detail, along with eligibility and relevant experience that you will need to take the exam. Here on your screen, you'll find the current exam fees. These fees vary if you're an ASPE member or not, and where you'll be taking the exam. A few things that we have changed over the past few years is the cancellation fees, and they do now apply. However, there are no rescheduling fees if you cancel within the 72 hours prior to your exam. Now, what's on the exam? There are 5 examination areas. The number beside these areas are approximate numbers of questions. These areas are gathering information, design, specifications, and construction services. What should you expect on exam day? You will receive an email after completing the purchase of your exam, also known as the assessment purchase confirmation email. Please bring this printed email along with 2 forms of identification. Proper forms of ID would include a driver's license and a credit card. We recommend double and triple checking your exam date and locations ahead of time and plan for any parking or public transportation routes. You are permitted to bring in a non-programmable calculator. ASPE does not have a list of approved or banned calculators. It is up to the candidate to determine this. An exam proctor makes the final decision if it's approved or not. But please note that mobile devices will not be allowed to be used as calculators. Upon entrance into the examination testing center, you will be required to leave all personal belongings in a locker or bin provided for you. We recommend leaving anything at home that you do not want to lose. As you know, this is an open book exam. Candidates are permitted to bring up to 6 professional bound reference books or materials. There is not an approved or banned list of reference material, but they must be professionally bound. You're not permitted to have a document printed and bound by a local printer. These will not be permitted into the testing center. Here are a few other things to know. All formulas and tables required to answer a specific question will be provided within the exam question. You probably want to have these few items memorized for quick reference sake. Note these shown on the screen. We recommend that you review definitions found in the Plumbing Engineer Design Handbook, Volume 1, Chapter 1 also. If you are interested in taking a practice exam, those are available on webassessor.com, where you registered and paid for the CPD exam. Here's a list of some reference materials you might want to consider bringing into the exam with you. Please note that books are not required, but is an option for you. Again, you can only bring up to 6 professionally bound materials. The newest CPD manual, review manual, is available for purchase, and you can find it on the link shown on your screen or by searching the ASPE bookstore online. Other books to consider are Plumbing Engineering Design Handbook, Volumes 1 through 4, Engineering Plumbing Design 2 by Alfred Steele and Calvin Laws. All this information is listed on aspe.org/CPD exam. Now to eligibility. Often we get questions if a person is eligible. The basics of eligibility are that a person must have 8 years of relative experience. So let's walk through a few scenarios. ASPE members that are full members in the full member category are automatically eligible to sit for the exam and do not have to go through the eligibility process. If you're an ASPE member who is not a full member, such as an associate, affiliate, governmental, student, or special member, you must go through eligibility. If you're not sure what your member category is, if you visit my account on aspe.org, you can find this. You can also speak to your local chapter officer or reference your membership card also. If you're not an ASPE member, you're required to go through the eligibility process. Now that we've spoken about eligibility, but the eligibility form is found on the main CPD exam page. Start there to begin this process. If you're not a full member and have questions, here are the basics. A 4-year degree in a relevant field counts towards 4 years experience. This would include journeymen and also plumbers. If you have a 2-year degree in a related field, this counts towards 2 years of the minimum 8 years required. To make up the other 4 or 8 years, you're able to use work experience to do so. You may substitute professional work experience in a related field. 1 year of work experience in industry counts towards 1 year of eligibility. If you're claiming the only work experience, a minimum of 8 years in a related field qualifies you to sit for the exam. Let me repeat that. If you are claiming only work experience, a minimum of 8 years in the related field qualifies you to sit for the exam. You may also use professional designations towards your eligibility status. If you're a current CPDT, you may count that towards 1 year. The other option is, if you're a current professional engineer, a registered architect, or a registered landscape architect, you can count that towards 2 years of experience. And now I'll turn this back to Pam for more logistical information about the examination.
Thank you, Don. There are more than 700 testing sites around the world. Here you see a sample of what you'll find when you visit the third-party link. Please keep in mind, not all testing centers have availability on the dates the CPD exam is administered, or they have limited seats. Our tip for this is register early. Register early, register early. You will hear me say this again, but I encourage you to register as soon as you know that you're going to sit for the exam or as soon as exam registration opens. As we mentioned, the most current and plans for future exam dates are always listed online, and these dates are firm. For 2018, for example, if you miss the March 22nd cutoff for the 2018 exam, there are no extensions. Here you'll see the list of dates and deadlines for the 2018 exam. And as always, this is listed online at aspe.org/CPD exam. Are you ready to register? Well, that's great. Once you're approved or you're a full member of ASPE, start at aspe.org/CPD exam and click register. The first step once you visit this third-party link is to create an account. Yes, that's what I said, you have to create an account. The exam registration process is managed by a third-party provider and is not linked to your ASPE.org or ASPE account. So the first thing you do, if you haven't previously done so, is to create an account. And you'll see this arrow is pointing to the top right part of the screen there. You'll click Create New Account. Here you'll complete the required fields. If you do not remember your ASPE number, this is okay. ASPE member numbers only contain numbers. No letters or words are included in membership numbers. Once your account has been confirmed through an email from WebAssessor, you'll log in with the credentials you just set up. When you're on the home page of this third-party site, you'll select Register for a New Assessment. You'll see where that arrow is pointing. There you'll see the CPD exam as an option. Please note the exam fee is much higher than most candidates will pay, so don't be shocked when you see this. You'll then be brought to a testing center location selector based on your address that you included on your profile. We recommend selecting more than one site to see what the availability is. It is not uncommon for the closest exam center to not have availability. Not all centers operate 5 or 7 days a week, and they have limited proctor exam sessions or other restrictions in place. How should you avoid these problems? You know, register early and save your seat. It is not uncommon, again, for us to hear that the testing center down the street does not have availability. ASPE does not control this. This is all controlled by third-party testing centers through the provider that we work directly with. And then once you select your exam center, you'll navigate to this page, navigate to the month and year the exam is being held. So you see over, it will default to the month that we're currently in that you're choosing to register. So you'll have to navigate a couple of months ahead. Select the available day, then time, and finally select the checkbox acknowledging you understand those terms. So on this page, there are 3 boxes for you to check: the day, the time, and that you acknowledge that you understand the terms. And if there's not a date that is in bold, like you see there, it says April 5th, that means that testing center does not have availability and you will have to check another one. If you're an ASPE member, you'll be required to enter a coupon code during checkout to adjust the price to the member price. Non-members who use this code risk having their exams canceled without questioning. On the checkout page, you'll enter this code and proceed to pay and check out as you normally would for an online purchase. After you complete the purchase, you'll receive an email with your assessment purchase confirmation, and that's it. Again, all the information is available to you online. We keep repeating the same information, but most of your questions can be answered on that exam page. We also have an FAQ page for you to reference. This year, ASPE is hosting our first CPD review class right here at our headquarters in Rosemont, which is just outside Chicago's O'Hare Airport. This is a 1.5-day class, which will really be an informative class for those interested taking the exam in 2018 or in the future. While it is not a fundamentals class, it will help highlight areas you need to review more closely in the months leading up to the exam. We also have a CPD review webinar series for those that are unable to travel or need something else to supplement their studies. It is a 4-part series. It is available for purchase right now, and they include 4 one-hour webinars. Again, both of these topics that I just mentioned, the review class and the webinar series, are not a guarantee to pass the examination. It is a supplement to your studies, and you should not use this as your only means in preparation. At this time, we'd like to open up for questions. Please type your questions in the dialog box, and we will answer them if we can. So we will pause here for a moment. Someone asked if we can get a copy of the presentation. As I mentioned, this will be posted online. We can do our best to share this with you, but all of the questions or all of the topics that we're talking about will be posted online, basically in the FAQ section. Keep typing your questions in, please. Someone asked if there is a difference between the CPD review class being held by one of the chapters in the webinar series. I can't answer that. I'm not familiar with what the chapters host versus what you are going to be seeing in the review class. It wouldn't hurt to necessarily have different information or, a different way to study. So we definitely recommend weighing your options. If you're local to Chicago, again, it wouldn't hurt to necessarily attend both, but someone asked if there were practice tests. As we mentioned, they are available for purchase on webassessor.com, which is the same location that you go to register for the exam. The information about the CPD review class being held at our headquarters is listed online. I do not have that handy, but there is a discount for members versus non-members. So again, keep those questions coming in. And I did forget to mention with the CPD review class, it does include the 2017 CPD review manual, as well as a 30-question practice test, which is a combined $125 member value. So on top of getting a day and a half of review, you get the updated CPD review manual, plus a 30-question practice test. And you also take a sample practice test at the end of the workshop. So it's really a well-rounded class if you're considering this.
Pam, I'd like to recommend also that people taking the exam bring 2 calculators, just because if the battery runs out, also if one is not acceptable and one is, just in case.
Great recommendation. Someone asked how long it takes to get the results of your CPD exam. Results are mailed to exam candidates approximately 6 to 8 weeks after the exam. And exam results are not shared over the phone, they're not shared by email, and they're only shared with the person that took the exam. All exam candidates receive their results on the same day, and it will be in a standard size envelope. And successful candidates who pass the exam will receive a certificate in the weeks following those results. So you will not receive a certificate right away, but everybody will get a standard envelope with their results in it. And again, the results are only shared with the person that took the exam. So someone asked a question about maintaining the CPD credential if you are successful in passing it. Yes, there's more information online about that, but basically every 24 months, a CPD must earn 24 hours of continuing education, and 50% of those credits, so 12 hours, must be from ASPE or an ASPE-approved provider. If you have any other questions, you can go look online, or we can talk privately about that, but right now, we'll just stick it to the CPD exam. Someone asked a quick question about the differences between our 3 credentials, CPD, CPDT, and GPD. The CPDT exam is Certified Plumbing Design Technician, which is the precursor to the Certified in Plumbing Design credential. You have to have less experience to be eligible to sit for the CPDT exam. And the CPD exam is obviously our flagship credential, which is something that we hope everybody that is a CPDT wants to achieve. This is our crowning achievement is the CPD exam. The GPD, or Green Plumbing Design, that is a certificate program. That is not a credential program, or excuse me, a certification program where you have to maintain continuing education. So that's the main difference between those 3 credentials that ASPE has. So we'll give it another minute or 2 for you to type in your questions. Please feel free. And again, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at certification@aspe.org. And as I mentioned, this will all be available again online for you to view at any time. It will not be going away. There will not be a limit to how many times you can watch this. So again, please feel free. There was a question about notes in the book, in your reference manuals. Someone asked, can you write notes in the reference manuals and tab off pages we feel important? The exam proctors are trained. Tabs are not permitted to be in your books, unfortunately. This is something that we do not control. This is something that the exam proctors control, and the company that we contract with to administer the exam. You can have handwritten notes in the books you bring in, but you will not be permitted to take notes within the book. If you are caught doing that, the exam proctor will shut down the exam, and by default, you will unfortunately not pass the exam. So notes are allowed. You are allowed to scribble notes on paper that is provided to you by the exam proctor, but you will not be able to leave with those notes and calculations, but they will be browsing the books that you bring in to see if there's any inserts, any notes or anything, and they are trained to watch to make sure that you are not scribbling any notes within the reference materials that you bring in. Hope that answers your question. So I think at this time, again, you can always email us after the fact, but so let's review really quickly. This is for 2018 only. Exam registration opens December 1st, so that's coming up very soon. Registration closes March 22nd. There is no extensions on this. So if you're even remotely considering the exam, register as soon as possible to secure your spot at the testing center. Hopefully that is closest to you. If you are not going to be submitting an online registration, paper applications must be received by March 1st, 2018. Again, there is no extension on that. The 2018 exam dates are April 5th and 6th. So it's a Thursday or a Friday. Again, we want to thank you for spending some time with us. We hope this answered your questions, and feel free to email us at certification@aspe.org or visit aspe.org/CPD exam. Have a good day.